Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Child of Time. I'm Steve Barnes, one of your hosts, and this week we watched episode 8, which was a season 2 finale. This one's called What Was Meant to Be. Yes, James?
Oh, I was just putting A up.
Okay, it threw me off. I was like, he told me to stop talking, like I did something wrong. Well, let's bring him in now because I'm doing everything right. He's the Marshland Monster. He recently released a single called Anal Dentata, which is out there right about now. And here he is. Ahoy there, James.
Chips ahoy, may you always find the water and shade, and insert reference from this episode.
I'm inserting it right now. Yes, sir. How are you doing? How are you doing tonight, James?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm very... I have a lot of weird nervous energy, as you can tell. Like, my intro is not good. That'll require some editing. But it's been a whirlwind of a day. My daughter's senior convocation. Then we had an in-person staff meeting, and then I drove for 5 hours, and then I sat at this computer to talk to you. So it's been kind of a wild one. So I have a lot of weird energy. So I hope I can get through this at a succinct pace, because I think I might try to plow ahead.
Wait, why? Where are you right now? Why are you traveling?
Oh, I'm in Chincoteague. I come here about once a month. And I think this is like the 8th podcast I've recorded while I've been in this hotel. I come here for work once a month. Chincoteague, Virginia. You have to drive across an 18-mile bridge to get here and go through like 2 one-lane tunnels. It's absolutely no fun. But when you're driving down that one stretch coming from like Virginia heading towards Maryland, it's really nice. You have to do the speed limit because the cops will pull you over. There's cops like every 5 miles, but it's a real chill scene.
Yeah, if I'm on an 18-mile long bridge, is that how long you said?
That is how long I said.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the speed limit. I might even be doing slightly under. I'd be terrified.
Yeah, I mean, there's cops on the bridge, like running radar. And like when it gets really windy, you have to drive very, very slow because trucks have gone over the bridge on a regular basis. This is the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel that I'm talking about, if anybody is wondering. Here in Virginia, it connects Virginia to Maryland.
It's like the Mackinac Bridge. What does that do, Stephen?
The Mackinac Bridge. It sounds like it might be in Michigan somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And it goes over one of the Great Lakes.
It does, but what does it connect?
Muskegon?
No.
Mackinac?
Getting
America to Canada.
No, you're close. You're close.
What is it?
It connects the lower peninsula to the upper peninsula.
Ah, the good old UP. Hell yeah. All right.
It's never not under construction. They're always, once they get done painting it, they have to paint it again.
That's right. It's an endless task. But yeah, I'm going to get into this episode now, James. This was the season ender, and I thought it was quite a banger. The first watch through, I kind of had to suspend my disbelief a lot because there was many places that took me out of the episode the first time through. Even kind of the second and third times through, some of those instances were kind of taking me out. I mean, I understand it's a fantasy show, but even fantasy shows have rules within. And there was just a few things that really bothered me, like cinematically, I suppose. Other than those brief things, which I bring up as we get to them, this was so strong. I loved this, and it was everything I wanted it to be. I just wanted to say that.
Man, if I were to watch a movie or a TV show and the first time I'm like, yeah, man, a lot of stuff pulled me out of it, I wouldn't watch it again.
Well, that's because there was, it kind of reminds me of like black metal music, where like you like pretty much everything about it, but like the singing kind of bothers you. But the drums and the guitar are so interesting that you keep listening anyway. So like, even though I was getting taken out of these moments, there was plenty of stuff that I was loving that was keeping me right on time. So, and of course, I mean, being a podcaster, I have to watch it again 2 or 3 times. I'd like to think that as a Wheel of Time fan, even if I wasn't podcasting, I would have watched it at least twice, just as a fan.
You said, oh my God, I can't believe I missed that Easter egg when Egwene told red hair lady that where have you been? Because I realized they did not interact until the end of this episode, and maybe they just
And
put an arm
barely.
around each other.
Yeah. Sure, if I wasn't doing this podcast, I would definitely be listening to another Wheel of Time recap podcast, more than likely on my car ride down here. But I'm enjoying doing this, and I'm happy to get into it. First, I wanted to say that the episode is called "What Was Meant to Be," and this chapter title comes from. I always like to say where the chapter titles are from. This one is from The Great Hunt, and in this chapter in the book is when Rand exposes himself to the world, reveals himself to the world that he is the dragon.
He
So
also exposed himself. That robe he was wearing once, he like said, "Yeah," threw his arms up in the air, deedle, whipping in the wind.
he forgot he wasn't being shielded anymore. All
Yeah,
those
because
shielders were gone.
and because that dragon just popped up, that heatness creates a kind of wormhole that's surrounding him, and it just whipped off. He wasn't expecting the wind, guys. He didn't do this on purpose, but
Yep.
he's in the mode. He's in the zone. People are cheering him. People started cheering more when his wiener wiped out.
That's right. They were in. Did you see the looks that Lanfear was giving up there too? She was giving them all the eyes. Like, I've been missing out
Mhm.
on. No, she hasn't been missing out on that. She's been getting that, so she knows. I forgot that they had probably a few month long relationship.
As the Gen Z say, Lanfear this whole season has been serving cunt.
Gen Z says that?
It's,
I've never
okay,
heard that.
it might be a specific. It might be like the drag queens who say that, or like I have heard many people say that. I apologize if you need to bleep that.
No, I haven't bleeped anything yet, James. Even when you ask me to bleep stuff, I don't do it. I just go with the wind.
I hope I haven't said one specific thing and you did not bleep it.
It's possible, I suppose. I have
Uh-oh.
no idea what you're referring to.
Well, I don't want to bring it up, but I guess people might know something that happened in my childhood that I always bleep out on my shows.
You've never brought that up on Sweet
Okay.
Child of Time.
Whew. Also, way to go being a bad podcast editor if I ask you to bleep something out in sincerity.
Right. I don't think you've ever actually done that.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is something I've noticed just this week, is that most of these episodes in this season are rated 13 plus, like their rating. But this last episode, for some reason, was rated 16 plus. I was thinking that wouldn't it be terrible if you had like a really strict parent and you were like 13 and they wouldn't allow you to watch the season finale because of the age restriction?
Well, I think it's because in this episode, for real, Lanfear is serving blank. And they make it known.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm not sure why this one would get a 16 plus and episode 6 would be a 13 plus, because episode 6 dealt a lot more like with I don't know, with Egwene's capture. It was a real tough episode to watch, and she was hung at one point. I would think that would be the 16 episode.
No, I think that's still 13, but the 16, there's a lot more blood and violence in
Oh.
this, and just this setting of an entire war. Wait, no, someone's head gets cut off in this one, doesn't it?
I'm searching my memory banks.
Well,
I don't remember a head getting cut off.
I thought there was. Well, you look up that you talk. I will see, because sometimes it will say rated this for this, and see if there
Right.
is any differences between the episodes.
Okay, right. Well, I was thinking when you were saying like about the blood, sure, there was a lot of blood here, but there was one particular scene that was super gross to watch, which was the slow motion scene of Perrin slinging his axe around, and the spit in his mouth was like flying in slow motion and slapping back around on his head. That should
It
have been.
It probably was rated 16 plus, because unlike the other episodes, this episode did have a dog brutally murdered.
Oh, animal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was very disturbing. Yeah. Bang on. That's exactly what it is, James. You got it. Killing people is fine. killing a cute dog who's become a character and one of the main characters live. Yeah, that's tough to watch. Let's get into that scene later on. That'll be fun, right, James?
Yeah.
I am going to go ahead and get into it now. We open up and we get to actually see Ishmael being sealed into his Heartstone prison by Luz, Theron, Telamon, along with a group of other dudes around. There's 8 dudes standing around. I think that one of them might have been a woman, but they look like mostly guys, except for the one woman I saw. But they wanted to seal him in there. Luz said, this stuff is like so strong, even I can't break it. So that's interesting that Rand is able to break it like 3,000 years later. So it seems like Rand is like a stronger version of Luz Theron, just not as smart and well versed and not as trained, but stronger.
He's got that raw power, baby.
It is that young Aiel power, right?
Also, real quick, it's half and half. Half of these episodes were 16 plus, half of them were 13 plus.
Okay, really interesting stuff. I just noticed that for the first time this past week, and I would think that they would rate the whole season, like whatever like the highest or lowest is. I would think like the whole season would be rated that just for viewership reasons.
No,
Um,
I forget what specific. I know there's like a Treehouse of Horror. I believe there were some that were TV 14 when generally
okay,
that one thing was TV PG. The Simpsons.
yeah, the specials. I guess that makes sense. Well, hey, the last thing I wanted to say about Ishmael here is when he got trapped in that prison, um, he was kept kind of semi-conscious. He said it'll be like being in a dream, is what he said. He, being Luz Theron, was telling Ishmael,
Mhm.
you're not going to have consciousness. It'll be like a dream-like state. But I mean, Ishmael eventually learned to control those dreams because
Yeah.
he was able to like seek Rand and Perrin and Matt out, through their dreams.
Yeah, I said, "You had him dream for 3,000 years. Of course he made the powers of Freggy Krugy."
That's right. I mean, it seems like a bad plan. But I guess he just assumed that no one could ever break this thing. That's a lot of what do you call it? A lot of chutzpah or a lot of fake bravado. But yeah, that was our great intro, and from here we get right into the main intro of the show. They actually did the whole intro song for us here, which is unusual. They haven't done that all season. James, did you did you run to the remote control and hit skip intro like you usually do?
Well, it's unusual it's been this entire season because I had no difference because, yes, I absolutely skipped it.
All right. Yeah, I watched it, and, like, after we watched it, Heather, like, completely unimpressed, was just, like, looking at me like, "Why did you make me sit through that?" And I don't know, because I love it. I love intros to shows. I watch them every time. I like it.
The only intros I'll watch every time are, like, Mystery Science Theater, and that might be it.
Okay, I mean, fair enough. Um, Before I get to my next scene, like, bringing up Heather, I wanted to s talk about this at the very beginning. Like, it's obvious you and I liked it this episode and this season. I asked Heather, just straight up because she had no reason to like watch the show other than that like it was on in the living room. She could have tuned it out if she wanted to, but she was interested in the show and she watched it. So of course, I asked her what her opinion of it was, and it passes go in her opinion. She didn't love it. It wasn't like her favorite thing, but she certainly doesn't mind talking with me about it for like a half an hour or so, like after
Mhm.
the episode, and she doesn't. So this completely removed person who has never read the books and would never have watched the show on her own likes the show. So that says a lot to me. I was wondering like what Nicole, if she I know she hasn't really been keeping up with it too much, but did she watch this episode and what was her opinion?
She watched it. There's a note later of something she said. We'll get into it when we get into it.
Mhm.
But there's not a lot that she enjoys it, meaning it she doesn't mind me watching it out on the main TV when she's awake, and also on the couch.
Hmm.
It's not like professional wrestling, most professional wrestling, or any full moon features movie. She despise. I don't understand it. She likes Charles Band when it was Empire Pictures, but once he switched over to full moon features, she says, get it out of here.
All right. Yeah, that's why I was impressed that Heather liked it. The same reason. Like she stuck around and checked it out and, and enjoyed talking about it and puzzling about some stuff. All right. I'm going to head over to our next scene, which is the White Cloaks. And they're hanging out. They're planning their attack to free the city of Falme from the Sentient control. We got Dane Bornhald here. He's the guy that drank a beer with Perrin, and he gave some water to Avienda, which was good enough, I guess. We meet his dad, which is, I guess you pronounce his name Jeffrem Bornhald. Seems like a real straight shooter kind of guy. He possibly honorable. I mean, I'm kind of agreeing with a lot of the stuff he's saying, which doesn't sit well with me that I'm
Mhm.
like, listening to this White Cloak, like, yeah, he's kind of right. These people are terrible. They need to be free. And yeah, like nobody else answered the call because, like, apparently, like the sea folk, were like, everybody help us. Nobody helped them. So the
Mhm.
White Cloaks are like, we're here to save the day. And it's like, kind of hell yeah, I guess. All right.
I likened it to professional wrestling when there is someone that you hate. You're like, oh my God, this person sucks. And someone you love. But then all of a sudden, let's say a Vince McMahon starts fucking with things, and the person you hate and the person you love come together and is like, fuck you, McMahon. And you're like, okay, I'm actually, yeah, I still don't like them as a singles wrestler, but they're coming together to take down Vince McMahon. Hell yeah. Which I guess is also the same situation as this show because I
Yeah.
like Mill because of satanic imagery, and he's also a fucking amazing wrestler. But I also like the Dark One because of satanic imagery, and he's
Right.
pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, right to the very end. He is kind of a slick, cool guy. I don't know, undeniably.
Hey, he's not the Dark One.
Right, I'm talking about Ishmael.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the Dark One in general.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right. I mean, wait till you. Yeah, let's get on with this. We got lots of darkness to come. But for right now, we're talking to the White Cloaks again, and this is what Dane Bornhald is saying. He's saying, reminding his dad of like the legends of the dragon. At Falme's greatest moment of need, the dragon will return, be proclaimed, and bannered across the sky in fire. And his dad's all like, "Oh, that's a bunch of storybook bullshit." But whatever. Come, son, let's go battle.
Get his god damn it. It's crazy how you don't write down powerful quotes because he says prophecies are the lies of long dead witches. And then I
Oh.
added this on, and you know me, I hate women who can do magic.
I know that about you, James.
Well, no,
Well,
no,
I wrote
he
down.
he hates that
Okay, all right. Well,
because he's
I
a
wrote
white
down what
cloak.
this is what I think is the important quote, and you have your important quote. Between the two of us, we got it covered, baby. So yeah, we're gonna get it covered now with Lanfear and crew in the ways. I'm gonna move on over there. So they arrive at what Lanfear says is the Falme Way Gate. Moraine asks Lanfear to open the gate up, and she does a little Aes Sedai lie here. She says, Ishmael took my power from me, which is true, but that's all she says. Lanfear sees right through her words there, and she sees her ability. She's like, I can see that you can channel. She tells Moraine here, and I didn't catch this the first time through, but she tells Moraine, when the time comes, raise the banner.
Mhm.
I didn't catch that first time through, and second time through, I was like, "Yay, there it is." But then after she tells them that, she poofs them away, and a little trickery here. She doesn't drop them off at Falm with her and Rand. She dropped them off, I guess, like a few miles outside the way, and they're in the middle of like this old waygate, maybe like 100 feet into the beach. And I guess because of like climate change or like just the changing of the landscape, this waygate obviously used to be on the beach, and now it's like in the middle of the water there. So they have to
Mm.
wade out into the into the sand there, and they don't know where they're at first. Once Lanfear poofs them out into that fake waygate or the wrong waygate, she's talking to Rand, and Mock and Shin like just all of a sudden like surrounds them at that waygate, and she's not scared at all, and it just seems like it's just another day to her. Um, and after this scene, we kind of lose track of them. So obviously, Mock and Shin didn't do a damn thing. Lanfear was able to protect Rand from that. But we see that they split up. Rand went one way to go hang out with Egwene or go find Egwene. Lanfear went the other way to go catch up with Ishmael. So that's where I'm going to catch up right now. Ishmael and her are sitting there in Ishmael's room and debating the situation here. And Ishmael's like, we're not ready. Rand will never just turn over to us. It's not going to happen. You can tell that they're like, I don't know, maybe lovers, maybe just really close friends, but they're talking about betraying each other and killing each other, and it's just an acceptable thing. It's just part of their daily routine. I would never do this to you, James. I'm not betraying you. I'm not
Uh-uh.
plotting to kill you. It's not going to happen. I'm going to tell
I
you right
hope
now.
not.
Yeah. Like they're so open with this. Like it's like I it's interesting. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, one of them says, I believe Ishmael says, "Do you know why I let you out?" And they say, "I balance you." And then the
Right.
other says, "And I you." No. You guys don't balance each other out. You
Oh,
clearly hate each other. What the fuck are you talking about? One of you wants to do like really, really, really evil shit, and the
right.
other one wants to do really, really evil shit that's possibly for the betterment of people. And
Right.
there's no balancing whatsoever. It's
I guess
like
that's
I'm
true.
going to put a bunch of rocks on a scale. But then there's another scale that I'm going to put a bunch of rocks on as well. They're two separate scales. They're just two people doing the same shit.
Yeah, good point. I guess you're right. They're arguing, not arguing here. They're talking here right in front of these other six seals. We see like the other six, which are apparently the other six Forsaken seals, and they're just there in the room with them, hanging out. We saw them last episode, I think, with Matt, but we get a better version of them here, and we see them definitely later. We get a look at those guys.
If I had a daughter who grew up to be like my sister, watching Sid and Nancy with her friends, I'd walk in like almost at the end of it and just go, yeah, they balance each other, and then walk out of the room. That is this situation.
You're exactly right. They are Sid and Nancy. You're exactly right. Good comparison. Speaking of Sid and Nancy, we got Perrin and Avienda and the other crew, Bane and Chiad and Hopper. And I can't remember if it's Bane or Chiad. I haven't been able to tell them apart yet. But one of them says that doesn't belong here. And she gestures over. It looks like she's gesturing over to the mountains or something. But I guess she's talking about Hopper, because this is when Perrin tells Hopper that it's probably not going to be safe for him, and
Mm.
that Hopper should not come and just stay there. And Hopper, good boy that he is, for right now, he sits down and stays.
He starts humping the air.
I've seen dogs do that. It's so funny.
He stands up, does the DX chaps. A
Right on.
wrestling heavy episode today.
Yeah, it is. I think it's because of you. It might be.
Oh, I mean, obviously. You haven't brought up wrestling once.
Nope. It's weird. Strange how that is. I don't know. I should bring it up more often, I suppose. So
Real
from here
quick,
is what? Yes.
you're wearing an Iron Maiden shirt. We got to
Yes.
rank this on how horny it makes us. There's a callback to a Twitch stream we did where we did a tier list of the Iron Maiden covers based on
Yep.
how sexy they are or how much you would want to wear them. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I think that's like how cool of a T-shirt they would make, or something
Mhm.
along those
Yeah.
lines. But we're still here at the gates of Falm, and like I said, Perrin and crew are heading up that way. The Children of the Light decide to begin their attack, and they had this strange attack method. I mean, not strange. I mean, armies have done this before, where they sending out literal children. It looks like to fog the landscape and to obscure their approach. So they're doing this method to get into the city, and it works like a champ. I would think these Death Watch guards would be smarter than this, but these two guys out front were fell for it. So they got in the gate.
Well, it seemed like a sandstorm was coming, so they probably were thinking, is this a normal sandstorm? We haven't ever been ambushed here.
Sure, yeah, I guess so. It just seems I don't know. It seems foolish to just watch it come towards you and not shut the gate. Oh yeah, okay, we're gonna skip ahead to Nynaeve. She is dressing up as a Soldam so that they may rescue Egwene. So she has this Damane with her, and seems like it comes pretty easy to Nynaeve to play the badass here and to be a Soldam. She fits into the role really well, and Elaine looks worried about Nynaeve.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about this?
I'm loving it.
Yeah?
Yeah, especially, is this where there's a badass quote she says?
Who, Nynaeve?
Yeah.
She said a bunch of really good quotes here. I did not write down a lot of quotes this episode. I'm sorry to say.
Is this where she says, if you don't do as I say, I'll make you curse the first kiss your mother gave your father?
Yes, it is.
Nicole heard that and said, holy shit, damn.
I mean, the writing in this show and the book is wild. And that's where Elaine looked worried. Like when Nynaeve said that, Elaine was like, oh, I didn't know it was going to go this far.
If this is where we're at, we missed a section where Egwene is talking to a other lady.
Right. We're right here there. Yes. So we got Egwene and Rena, and they're preparing for battle too. That's right.
And she's like, hey, don't fuck anything up. And she says, you want to know what? I got it covered. And then takes her braid and cuts it. And Nicole was like, oh, shit. Both of us said, she's going to kill you so hard, but you just made her hotter looking. That's all you did. You ensured her death and made her even more of a smoke show.
Like Lanfear, I loved her long hair. When she had the short hair, I was like, oh, that's okay. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Egwene looks much better with that short hair. But that's what was my next note was Egwene wants to refuse orders. So Rena takes that knife and threatens to cut her tongue out at that point. But then she turns around and chops that braid off. And I audibly gasped. I think that was like the biggest reaction I got in this whole episode was when that happened. Because I was beside myself. I was pissed. Come on, Rena.
It could also just say maybe visually, like her with shorter hair doesn't make her hotter. That might be telling of Nicole and I that we just want a woman who could crush us with just like whoop, moves her hand and then we're burnt from the inside out.
Yeah, she could do it. So here, next scene, we got Ishmael, and he's doing some like in character acting. He goes to Padden Fane and acts like he's upset that Lanfear has betrayed him. And they were just talking a few scenes ago about how this was going to happen. But he's concerned that Rand's not going to swear the dark oaths. So he supplies Padden Fane with the task of prepping Matt for this knife attack that he thinks is going to be happening because men saw it. So obviously it's going to happen. Everybody knows that men's visions always come true. Ishmael knows it too. So he's trying to get Padden Fane in there to get this ball rolling. Oh yeah. And he also says, if this doesn't work out, which I don't expect this to work out, maybe it'll go better than next life. He's just kind of like, I got more time. It's no big deal. I can wait another 30 years or 20 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Padden presents that ruby dagger to Matt and tries to persuade Matt to swear the dark oaths. And Padden Fane, here's a quote that Padden Fane said to Matt. We both know you're no hero from a gleeman's tale. We both know that's not you. That's interesting how this episode turns out that
Yeah.
that's what Padden Fane thinks of Matt. That's what Matt thinks of himself right now too. He thinks he's a dickhead, you know. So I guess like in show we should know that Matt, not we, Padden Fane and Ishmael know that Matt is actually stronger than he appears to be because he can withstand this ruby dagger.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a normal person, like even of like above average intelligence or whatever, wouldn't be able to resist that for more than like a few seconds.
I
Matt's
could.
able to. Yeah, you think so, huh?
Yeah.
What kind of methods would you use?
I'd wear a glove. I'd wear a condom. I've been given some.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the ruby dagger is like calling to you. Like, I mean, it's like everything to you, James. Like you can't withstand. Nobody can withstand. You think you're like a Matt Cawthon here?
I don't fall for advertisements, so I'd use the same logic here.
I mean, okay, using that logic, I'd be the same way too. I'd be like, I'm not
Okay.
falling for this crap. So,
Exactly.
so you think I'm as strong as Matt Cawthon?
Yeah, stronger even. You wouldn't have gotten all sick.
Wow. Damn. Okay. All right. I like this. I'm like Padden Fane. I'm like whistling to the next scene because I'm all happy. This is good. Thank you. All right. So Rand up next. He's in disguise. Who does he remind me of here with that hood on? He reminds me of like a video game character. Or is
Probably
it like
any Jedi you've ever seen.
no, not even Jedi. I'm thinking like Prince of Thieves ish or like
Yeah. Or
I'm,
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. That's the one. That's what he reminds me of here. He's got that cool hood going on. He spots Egwene in the crowd, going up with the other Damane, being led up to that tower. Anything from you, James?
No, I have a note that just says called it !3, but I don't know what I called. So I'm just
I
waiting
know.
for you.
I know it. I know exactly what you call it. It's this next scene with Lan and Moraine. And so the bond has been severed. Yes, you're nodding your head enthusiastically. The bond has been severed during this whole shielding process. We didn't realize that their bond is no more. Even though she's back and she's ready for action, their bond is no more. Lan wants it back. Moraine is hesitant because I think just because she's afraid to show how weak and helpless she feels. This is where James was right. Take it away, James.
So he, being Lan, says to Moraine, I'm here for whatever you need me to do. I understand that you are more powerful than me. That's what you said. And it's just a simple fact of the matter. When she said a few episodes ago, when they split apart, saying, what exactly did she say?
We are not equals.
Yes. So I said, well, obvious. He should have fucking said complete the sentence. That's what he should have said straight to her face. But he wasn't thinking. This bond has been severed for a little bit, and he's sad. This has been his best friend for 20 years, and almost 20 years, and it's baffling how he didn't. And I said on that episode, she is going to say, because you are my superior. You've always been more than me. And that's what she fucking says. She said, hey, I didn't complete my sentence, sir, because you've meant more to me than I will ever mean to anyone else. Things like that. I'm like, yes. And then the bond is recreated, and Nicole's like, kiss, kiss, kiss,
no
because
joke.
they're really close. And I'm like, no, Nicole, you don't understand. She is hella gay, and he has only eyes for Nynaeve. And I said,
they could have still kissed.
I said, Nicole, this is what work friends do. And she says, oh,
That's true.
I guess I've never had a work friend then.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine kissing any of my work friends either, now that you put it that way. But
But you
yeah,
could,
I was waiting for a kiss as well. That's exactly what it looked like.
no, they were just getting close because that's
Yes.
what this bond is. I knew they weren't going to. I've done this with work friends, swirling magic around us,
Yeah.
and we touch foreheads and say, we
Yeah.
got this, brother. And then
Yeah.
a bus that wasn't on the schedule pulls up, and 30 kids come out saying, give us chicken nuggets at Burger King. And I'm like, well, I want to kill myself more than I did 20 minutes ago. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, you want to know what? This is my year. This is my years. And 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I should just off myself.
How did we go from like this water bond to talking about buses? Because Heather and myself, we met at Applebee's back in 1998, and that was a common thing. We had like a window. We worked in a mall. There was a big plate window and a big, like every now and then, maybe like every 3 weeks or so, a giant bus would pull up. We'd be praying, please just go in the mall and do some shopping.
Hmm.
And they would all just herd themselves into Applebee's all at the same time. Oh, it was it was wonderful stuff, James. We love working in the service industry.
We would get lucky. Most of the time, people would talk, like relay this information the day before so they could quickly, hey, do you want to come in
Sometimes.
from this hour to
Yes.
this hour? Or could you come in early to cover this? Could you stay later? But sometimes, if McDonald's was fucking up, sometimes they'd come over to us, or just all of a sudden, school buses were never really the biggest issue. It was old folks
Charter.
going to the casinos.
Yeah, charter buses. Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Where was I? Yeah, the water bond. This thing was beautiful. I love this scene, and I think we're going to see this scene a lot more. Like we're going to see clips of this in the future. I hope so. Anyway, this was one of the best scenes I believe of the show. And what I wrote down here was they confirmed the quote unquote equal talk. James, we knew right away! And exclamation point. So that was my note too. Good job, man. So Perrin and his Aiel, they're arriving right in the middle of the battle, just like when Avienda like arrived where she arrived in. Yeah, it was the same town actually. She has arrived at the wrong time. That's kind of seems like what they're doing here. They're coming to rescue Perrin's friends. Now remember, like Elias was all like, "They're not your pack." Like those people in Two Rivers, they're not your pack. We're your pack. We're the wolves, and it's like, yeah, that's cool and everything. Perrin obviously doesn't agree with that because
Mhm.
he's going right back into the heart of danger to rescue loyal Masima and Ingtar. He's not rescuing his Two Rivers friends. He's rescuing like his soldier friends.
Mhm.
So I think that shows a lot of loyalty that didn't really register in the show. They didn't really point that out. I don't think too much that he had no idea that Egwene, Rand, Matt, Nynaeve were here. He had no clue. He was just there to get his other buds.
But that's
Um,
the idea of being a Tuathin. Is that what its name?
um, yeah, the Tuathan. That's correct. But this,
Wait, is it
he's.
correct? Is it the thing that all the Rivers kids have?
Oh no 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 no. That's the tavern the Taverine. Yes.
Okay, that's the
Okay.
thing. That's
Taviran. I'm
his
sorry,
pact.
Taviran.
Taviran is his pact. And because of that, that's what's really bringing him. Yeah, he's loyal to loyal,
Sure. Yes.
but you know, he's there for his.
Taviran.
There we go. I point if there's a pause in there, guys. It's me pointing at Steve.
Well, it's funny that you say Tuathan because that's an interesting note. I thought you were going to go there. I'll go there for you. He's been really interested in the Tuathan ways before he hooked up with Elias and the wolves. He was, talking to them, learning the way of the leaf and like nonviolence. And he was flirting like with vegetarianism. He wasn't eating meat for a while. Seems like he's dropped that whole deal and he's like full on warrior. So he's in warrior mode in this episode. I don't mind seeing that because we haven't seen him in a while, and maybe the wolves have been, getting his strength up. Oh,
Mhm.
So yeah, he's there to rescue his friends. Luckily, he just kind of runs into them in the street. Like they just kind of stroll up on each other. Like there they are, loyal Ingtar and Masema, and they got the Horn of Valir. Here, it's under my arm right now. That was one of the things that kind of took me out of the show, where I was like, this is way too convenient. I don't like this. It was also set up by Lanfear. Did you
Mhm.
catch that? Because I didn't catch that the first time through. Because they say like that a woman from Karheen helped us. So Lanfear set them free and gave them the Horn of Valir here.
Yeah,
You knew
because
that?
she's been wheeling and dealing a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, but you knew that watching it though.
No, I wasn't really understanding fully what she was doing until the end. Then I'm like,
Gotcha.
oh fuck, that's why she was talking to that dude, and she technically looped around everything to episode 1 or 2 things happening.
Heck yeah.
So I'm upset at
Oh,
the ending of something that happens because I'm like, she
yeah.
was doing good. She was technically doing good.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. We'll get there. But yeah, that was my note here was did James pick up on that? Because I didn't pick up on the fact that Lanfear was helping behind the scenes there with Loyal and all them.
Well,
Speaking of
at
Loyal, yeah,
Well, at this moment, you brought up they have the horn of,
Valir.
and Nicole just with no frame of reference goes, they got that Xbox One.
It does. Yes. Hell yeah. It looks just like that thing. Loyal insists that they need to rescue Egwene. Ingtar is a little hesitant on that plan. Loyal, then I think this was like the key to Loyal being there. Like if you're talking about Taviran and everybody having their purpose in the group, this was Loyal's purpose to give him this pep talk here. He says the key to the dragon winning the last battle is this horn. They need the heroes of the horn. Loyal insists that they are the heroes, they being Loyal and crew, are the heroes of today. They're the heroes of somebody else's time. So they need to start acting like heroes and rescue the Princess Egwene. So that's what they do.
They specifically say, we're the heroes of another age's legend.
Oh, is that what the exact quote was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even better. I like it. Of course I like it. What are we talking about? Of course I like it. All right, back up to that battle up top where Egwene is. Speaking of her, needing rescuing. We got the Soldam and the Damane up there doing their attack. So I realized that like those their face paint is not a tattoo. I thought like the more stronger ones got like tattoos, but it's just paint. And she like put that cool eyeliner on Egwene. That looked really nice too. I like that eye paint she put on Egwene for
Mm-hmm.
the battle.
One of them had Shaggy 2 Dope Shangri-La era face paint.
Egwene is hesitant to fight. She's not into this at all. Like the other Damane are doing their thing, but she is holding back. But then when she sees the white cloaks yelling, "Burn the witches," that's when she kind of gets a little pissed off and decides to give them a mega blast. But then Rena does not help. Rena says to her, "Good girl," like she's a puppy dog or something. And I think that's probably what what turned Egwene away from the battle and like not wanting to pursue the White Cloak battle anymore. But we're going to get back to them. I'm going to head over to Turok now. So Turok with his long ass fingernails and his voice and the whole crew of Death Guard. There's about 12 of them. They're about to go search for the horn because they found out the horn was stolen or something. Rand is there to stand in their way. So Turok also has a Heron Mark blade, just like Rand. And we know that Rand is not a sword master. He's a Nepo baby. He has a sword from his dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that he has this sword because it helps him stand out to people, and it's like a Taviran thing. It helps people take notice of him, even though it's not something that he wanted. Nonetheless, it's there. So Turok is all like, let's see what it takes on this side of the ocean to get a Heron Mark blade. We don't have to worry about this. Rand does like an Indiana Jones and just blasts them all with one quick blast, and one powers them instead. So everybody but the voice. He doesn't kill the voice, I guess, because he didn't see the voice as a threat because the voice wasn't like wielding a weapon or anything like that. Then
Mhm.
the voice pulls out a knife and Harry carries himself from, what does he say? From birth till death, I serve the blood. And and Rand walks by this guy as he's killing himself. It's a crazy scene.
Yeah, it was dope.
I liked it a lot. This is where a lot of book people were upset because, of course, in the book, Rand did an awesome sword fight and was kick ass. But here he did it Indiana Jones, which is a lot better for time, I
Yeah.
suppose. And it wouldn't make sense for Rand to all of a sudden be this awesome sword fighter and be able to take down another Heron Mark Blade dude. I think that just wouldn't make sense. So what they did worked fine for me.
Maybe it was just for time. They didn't have time to, because I'm pretty sure the Indiana Jones thing, that it was supposed to be a fight scene, and I think maybe it was an injury that Harrison Ford had,
Hmm.
and they're like, he can't do that, or it was just way too hot that day, and he's like, "Can I just shoot them?" And they're like,
Yes.
"Okay, I'll verify that information."
No, that's fine. You can, but I know you're correct because I heard that on a podcast as well.
Was that the first Indiana Jones?
Yes, because the second one he reached for his gun and it wasn't there. So the first
Mm-hmm.
one he had the gun. All right, next scene, Perrin and crew is sneaking down the alley here. All of them, they look so out of place. It's a really interesting crew. Ingtar admires the women, the Aiel women, for their fighting skills and the way they communicate. They're doing their maiden hand talk, which is perfect in this situation here. Eventually, they're found and they have to engage in a fight against some Senshin. Oh yeah, here we go. Ingtar mentions that one man can hold 50 here for whatever reason. Like this is a good alley place, and he can hold everybody back. So he puts himself to the task. He yells like for the light, and Ingtar is defeated in battle here. We see Ingtar die. And I had something interesting to say about that. So I'm going to put the Indiana Jones thing on a hold for a second. Ingtar is a dark friend. He's one of the guys that let the dark friends in the gate at Faldara, and he double dealed the guys in the books. This is, and he could have done this. It could have been the exact same outcome in the show, but in the show they decided to, because this exact same thing happened in the book where he gave himself up for battle, sacrificed himself, um, denounced being a dark friend, and like yelled for the light, and like was fighting for the light from that moment. So he like just like we say about Leandrin, he was like a bad guy that turned good and died good. But for
Mm-hmm.
here in this in our show here, he was always a good guy and he died a good guy. So sorry to see him go. I liked Ingtar.
Who is Ingtar?
He's the guy with a nice beard, and like he
Okay, okay.
was with Loyal and he had nice eyeliner and stuff.
I do that. I was waiting for you to say some note to remind me why I wrote this down, which is this is a TV show. We can't keep all 1,000 secondary characters because it's like quit killing off. I said they keep killing off the characters Steve thinks are cool in the show.
I like that a lot. Hey, but hey, we got like a 1-for-1 this episode. We got somebody back, so I like
Uh
that. We'll
huh.
get to it later.
Real quick,
Hmm.
while filming a lot of the movie's team got quite ill with dysentery, so it was truly just everyone exhausted. And on Indiana Jones, he just pulls out the gun. It like everyone is, I think, in the middle of shitting themselves.
Like, thank God we don't have to do anything. All right, back to Lan and Moraine. They're back on the beach. Beautiful scenery for these guys. Beautiful color palettes too. I want to make a poster of like maybe a poster of the two of them doing their bond. That would be like a really nice poster for the wall, I think. At any rate, Is Heather listening? Maybe she could make one of those happen. They're relieved. They, being Moraine, is relieved that they're sharing the bond now, and she doesn't feel like she has to hide anything. So it's always a relief to like have open communication. You know, talk about some Forsaken here. We get some Forsaken talk. Most of the Forsaken fought amongst each other just as much as they fought their enemies. But Ishmael and Lanfear were like really into Luz Thayer and Telamon, and they were always kind of soft on him, and they always kind of worked together. So that was, that's kind of interesting information that we're getting in this last episode here. And Lan says, hey, it kind of reminds me of these Two Rivers kids, how they're really close to each other and, got their thing going. So eventually they being Lan and Moraine, arrive in Falme. They can see the tower from where they are. And Lanfear had planned this. Like, she dumped them off like a couple miles away so they would be delayed in their arrival and they would arrive at just the right time. So, yeah, Lanfear's doing a lot of behind the scenes heavy lifting here. Like,
Mhm.
this is another situation where she's helping out. So, at this point, I and you and everybody is wondering is this for the light or for the dark that she's doing all this?
I mean, the end. I think she's doing this for not, if not the light, if not for the dark. She is trying to get back with the individual she has loved for millennia.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And here she is again. She's got her long hair back, which the next scene is long haired Lanfear. And we see Bail Damon, who's like everybody's favorite pirate. He's a pirate dude. He's really prevalent in the books too. He's looting during this whole upheaval. So he's grabbing some goods, and Lanfear, turns out, is the one that sold him that broken Quiandiar heartstone. So she's like, I got 6 more big old whole pieces for you if you want. But thing is you have to dump them out into the middle of the ocean. Don't tell anybody. And he agrees. Like, she pays him a good price, and I
Mhm.
hope it's a good price. And I hope he I mean, it doesn't matter because things don't work out this way. But the deal is you go to your boat and your wait, and after this whole thing is over, I'll bring you those 6 Quiandiar and a bunch of cash, and you go dump them off the middle of the ocean. And that's a
Actually,
pretty good plan.
and I think he got cash up front at least, so
He did. Yeah.
he made out with some sizable income.
That's right. He did walk away from this whole thing with something. That's right. Not exactly what he wanted, but something. Somebody else who's here is Suroth. She's still hanging around. She's ready for action. She's pacing in her room. Ishmael finally arrives, and he's dusting off his hands. He's got all this prevalent dust around him. And he was like, I was up to some other tasks, and I didn't know what he was referring to in the first episode. Second watch through, it was, he had broken the seals, and
Mhm.
he was dusting off his hands coming from that. So he
That's
finds
good
out,
writing, guys.
yeah, it really is. So we find out Turok is dead and that the horn's been stolen.
Real
So
quick,
yeah,
what, like, if they hadn't explained that, people would be theorizing, and then my dumbass would be like, "Maybe he was making pizza dough, huh?"
like I saw that happen in the first episode, and I was like, I kind of put a bookmark in my mind, but I like even after watching the whole episode, I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, maybe the second time through I'll be able to. But I was really thinking,
Also,
yeah, I was guessing. I had no clue.
you mean the first time you watched the last episode, not in the first episode?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
James. Thank you for the
You said first
clarification.
episode many times, and I'm like, I think he means the first
The first
watch
time.
through of this episode.
That's what I mean. You got me. Oh, yeah. So Suroth is super excited about her task. What she is tasked with here is taking the strongest Damane that she has on reserve, which isn't Egwene, which is interesting. But I guess they're the more well trained ones, the ones that are more the old reliables. They're going to shield Rand. And when the signal comes, when the time is right, she gets to gentle him. And wow, that's like really exciting stuff. her and her voice like get these like funny like smiles on their faces. Is it just she's just maniacal and evil? Is that all it is?
My guess would be either you get a charge out of one gentling a man, but also you would feel that power within him. And you getting to gentle the
Oh,
dragon, that
right.
one would be you can walk into anywhere and say like, yeah, I gentled the fucking dragon, and people would fear you for the rest of your life. And
Okay.
you would feel that power, that feeling would always be in you. But then, you might be jonesing for more of that. All of a sudden, you join the Reds. What are they doing? Oh my God. It's like a serial killer who thought one would be fine, but you got to keep jonesing.
Yeah, I guess so. Ooh, Jonesin takes us right into the next scene. Matt resisting that dagger that he joneses so hard. Okay, this is the do-it-yourself craft scene with Matt and the dagger. He figures out this sneaky way to handle the dagger without actually touching it, creating a spear. He uses this spear to escape from the room because the dagger, of course, is magical and it can burn out metal. And I, this is one of my disbelief moments, but I tampered it down a little bit because I'm thinking, the actual act itself is great. And, Padden Fane demonstrates with the sheath that, you can kind of handle the dagger as long as it's like, covered or something.
Mhm.
So like handling it with the little leather strap is fine. I was thinking to myself, like, there's no way this thing would like stay so nice and straight and never waver throughout this whole battle that he gets into later. And I chalked it up basically to a couple of things. One of the things is like Matt is supposed to have like this incredible luck, and he's supposed to be Taviran, which is supposed to work in his favor. And then he has this magical dagger, which wants to destroy,
Yeah.
which wants to be evil and to kill stuff. So the dagger is like kind of helping it stay. It's say I don't know, in a magical way. It's staying in place somehow. Do you have any thoughts about this?
We've said it on other episodes, Steve. This is the difference between you and I. You, I believe, have never played Dungeons and Dragons, and I have. This is D&D bullshit that
Okay,
you
all
would
right.
roll, and your dungeon master would say, "Yeah, if you roll above this, you can do that." And then you get a nat 20, and they're like, "Why the fuck did I say they could do this?" And this is that. This is
Okay, okay.
me in Hit It and Crit It having a belt of fire giant strength that Corey said, yeah, just roll. Everyone else has magical items. You're starting midway through. Just roll in the magical items section of the player's handbook, and whatever you roll, you get. I am a wizard, and I get Belt of Fire Giant Strength, which gives me 25 strength. So to my hit rolls, I had +7. Most of the time, I was just shoving and stabbing people, not using my spells because it was so much more strong, so much stronger, I should say, than my spells. That
Okay.
is the difference between you and I.
Okay.
This is D&D logic, and I fucking love it. Once I saw him do that, I'm like, this rules so hard. Hell
It does.
yes.
That's I was like, this is one of the things I was saying earlier. Like, I halfway loved this, and I halfway was like scratching my head, like, this doesn't make sense to me. Of course, this does not happen in the books. So, that it's not like there's like a book logic that's like, oh, yeah, finally this thing happens. This is a show thing, which I think is a neat show thing.
Mhm.
This is a very neat change that I think they're going to maybe stick with. I don't know. Um, like stick with like Matt having this dagger on this staff. Like this could become like his weapon. Speaking of D&D and rolling the dice, that's what Matt's catchphrase is. It's time to roll the dice. When he does yells his catchphrase, that's what it translates to. It's time to roll the dice. So he's absolutely a D&D guy. And we saw
Mhm.
him playing dice last episode.
My guess is if this continues to be his weapon,
Mhm.
what will happen is he'll go to a blacksmith who is also. Are there Aes Sedai who are blacksmith?
Perrin is a blacksmith.
But are there Aes Sedai?
Uh, no, but I mean, they can do magical stuff like that.
So my guess is they would enchant the
Mm,
whatever a blacksmith would find something that will hold it secure, like make it a true spear, but
gotcha.
they would have to go to a magical person to make sure the holder of this, like the thing that's holding the knife that in place,
Yeah.
is enchanted to also not, or just make it in a bunch of different pieces.
It's a tricky thing to work with.
Yeah.
And it's a neat parallel. Like he has this weapon that's like deadly, but it will also kill him if he touches it. It's a really neat concept. I like it. That's why I kind of hope they stick with it because it's unique, but it also makes sense.
Which happens a lot in D&D, the, possessed or not possessed, the cursed weapons. In
Okay.
Hidden Credit, someone had a sword that contained a demon in it, and you had to luckily, he worshipped that demon, so it was a tit for tat. I am truly just giving you blood so you can charge up and be a cool sword for me, but there's always that fear that the demon will just possess you.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's this. Um, I guess we're going to end this scene here. Padden Fane flees. He sees Matt come out. He's all like, ha ha ha, Matt touched the dagger. But then Matt didn't touch the dagger, takes down a couple of dudes, and Padden Fane runs away. All right, now we're going back up to Egwene. And this is the moment that I wrote in my head Egwene has mojo. Is when she turns around and spits out her passy and she refuses to fight. And so she's prepared to like do what it takes to like not fight. Rena prepares to take her tongue and she's getting ready to do it. And that's the exact moment that our white cloak buddies trebuchet the crap out of that tower and take most of the people out up there. So that stops Egwene from getting her tongue taken out. Thumbs up.
Trebuchet is Bobby Boucher's long-lost cousin from
Okay.
Waterboy.
Obviously. So, okay, tower. Almost everybody's there. We're all getting there. Nynaeve and Elaine arrive at the tower. So this is the part that I absolutely cannot get past, and that's really bothering me. So an archer takes out the demone, and when this happens, we see like the magical Adam like falls off. So that like lets everybody know like how this magical thing works. When one of them dies, the whole contraption falls apart. But then Elaine also gets an arrow in her leg, and Nynaeve wants to channel and help her, but of course she's got her big bad block and she can't do it. And this is kind of typical of Nynaeve. Like she needs to be like in the moment or whatever. Like Elaine's been hearing about all this wonderful stuff about Nynaeve, how she's healed like 24 people in a cave, and she can't help her with the power here. Elaine is really cool with it. She's accepting of her fate. She's like, if you can't channel, you can't channel. Like, just do it the wisdom way.
Mhm.
But this doesn't seem like the wisdom way. This seems like some really bad first aid to me. The
Yeah.
way she
Oh,
pushes this arrow through Elaine's leg.
what are you that's what you do in real life.
But then there's no blood. We talk about blood in this episode. At that moment, she stands up and I mean, I think it's neat the way that Nynaeve realizes that she's going to need Elaine's channeling. So
Mhm.
she's like, you got to come with me. It's just, she should be carrying Elaine because Elaine cannot walk on that leg. There's no damn way. And there's
It's
no way it won't be bleeding all over the place.
it's wild that this is your issue with this scene. My
Yeah.
issue is why the fuck did they aim an arrow at a citizen? Like there's nothing showing of Elaine that that is a demone or is it enemy of the light, which is what the white cloaks are going up against. It's weird that it went to her. And I also thought this is just downplaying Nynaeve, but I guess like we want Egwene to be the like cool hero and whatnot. But I didn't like how she kind of had such a long backseat in this entire scene. That's hey,
Same.
every single episode, I usually have something that's like, come, why'd they do that? This is my one for this episode.
Yeah, for me, it's like the injury that she sustained with no magical healing, and she was completely okay with it. More or less, she limped a little bit. That's all she's got.
But maybe
Um,
she's kind of healing herself.
Not possible. Like that's
Oh,
one
you
thing that
can't heal
you
yourself.
can't heal
Okay, yeah.
yourself. Yeah, that
Hold on. Maybe she has just like she's really flexible and can heal herself.
okay. Well, she does rock, but oh yeah, I wanted to answer what you were saying. They were probably aiming for Nynaeve and her
Okay.
Soldam because remember the Soldams were the one. I mean the Damane. I'm sorry, were the ones that were wrecking most of the house there. So they were
Also,
probably aiming for them.
real quick, Steve, you understood I was making a self suck joke earlier, right?
No, I did
When
not catch it.
you can't heal yourself, and I said maybe she's really flexible and can.
Yep, over my head. Thanks, James. I'm glad you bookmarked it for us, though. Good deal. So, okay, here we go. We got Dane Bornhald now. We're gonna watch the White Cloaks do some battling. They're doing their thing, and his dad has faith in the light. It seems like Dane is like, I can't believe this is actually working. So they're fully engaged in battle at this point. And Dane recognizes Mr. Two Rivers. He's like, hey, Two Rivers. And
Mhm.
for a little while here, they're fighting on the same side, and everything seems chill. They're all fighting against the Ascension, and they got Two Rivers on their side.
This is so much the wheel working its whatever that this
Yeah,
man technically saved Perrin, gave him water, all of this, only for him to do something real messed up later.
yeah, that's right.
In his eyes, in Perrin's eyes, this is truly the only, actually, in everyone's eyes, these white cloaks are bad. Just get out of the organization or this will happen to you.
Yeah, before Perrin, though, we're going to go back to Egwene. She comes to up there, and she sees the Adam drop off when one of her fellow Aes Sedai dies. This is Magdalene. She was the one that was Moraine's boss back in season 1. She dies, and when she dies, like that, Adam drops off, and Egwene pocket it's real quick. Pocket it, sit it real quick. So Rena approaches her. Rena's super pissed off, but Egwene is able to slap that Adam on Rena. So now they are each other's Damanes, except for, who is stronger in the power? It's Egwene.
Mhm.
So in anybody else's case, they would probably be equally matched, but it's not the case here.
And I think someone, because Nicole and I had this conversation, if anyone has an issue with this of saying, well, she shouldn't have been able to slap that on her neck because that's doing her harm. However, if you
That's
say
fine.
that necklace is a weapon to someone, that would immediately break your entire system because you would be saying, I am constantly using a weapon against you. So that's why Egwene was able to do that. I feel like people will try and make that argument and say this is stupid because of that, but no, it would truly crumble the basis if they are not allowed to do that. That is more of an issue plot wise than them being able to do that.
Okay, yeah, I like the way you're thinking about this. I don't think it's problematic at all. I think it's story tight. I think it's okay, but I'm glad you're thinking ahead on it. Good deal.
I know some fuckers will say it, you know that.
I haven't heard it yet, which is good. But here's what does happen: Egwene is able to one power Rena up and hang her, just like she hung Egwene a few weeks back. So this is another thing. This is another one of my problems I have with this episode, because while Rena is up there being hung, and moments later she dies, so she is being choked to death. She is hanging. She's able to say full sentences to Egwene while she is dying, being hung. It's just not technically possible for anybody to be able to make words while they're being hung. So that's kind of that's one of my one of my no-go areas that I was kind of not with.
Hey, Steve, can you make fire come out of your palms?
Cannot.
Okay, it's
Uh-huh.
magic. Just say she's magically talking.
All right, she's magically talking. Um, I will say about Egwene, she has Heather's respect now. She has never been Heather's favorite character. I won't say Heather has been like an Egwene hater, but
Mhm.
she has never liked Egwene, and she's always been vocal about that. Like Egwene's like her least favorite. But now she's got Heather's support. She won her respect in this episode. Again, Egwene's got mojo. We all see it now. She didn't need anybody to rescue her. She took care of herself right here.
Also, guys, Steve is referencing a parody song he made of Egg Raid on Mojo. He keeps referencing it. This is a conversation only Steve and I have had together. Have you posted that song anywhere?
No, I was going to save it for the Wheel of Time parody contest next
Okay.
year.
So then we need to explain why you keep saying that. And we have. There you guys go.
You don't
It's
have
filled
to.
in your
It's
mind.
straight up. Egwene has mojo. I mean, she really does in this episode. Even Rand says so. He comes up and approaches her and is like, I came here to rescue you, but it looks like you didn't need my help.
Mhm.
That's classic Wheel of Time stuff. That happens quite a few times in this series. But bad news. Oh yeah, first off, Rand apologizes to her. And first watch through, I was like, what's he apologizing to her for? For being the dragon? That's what I was thinking. No, he's apologizing for like fooling them and
Mhm.
them thinking he's dead. Um, so I had to like tell myself that second watch. I'm a pretty dense guy. A lot of stuff went past me the first time through. But Ishmael also approaches. Like he shows up at just this time as well, and he has engaged Suroth to shield Rand. So Rand is now shielded, and he tries to talk to Rand now about turning to the dark. So we're not going to go into the scene yet because we got to talk about Perrin and Matt a little bit. So that's where I'm going to drop off with Rand and Ishmael and Egwene. But did you have anything before we go on?
Nope.
All right. So Perrin's crew is they just finished their battle and they've lost Ingtar, but the rest of them are still here. So they approach this fog, and Matt approaches out of the fog, which I think is like a little bit of foreshadow for what happens later, because this exact same thing happens, in about 10 minutes now. He's ecstatic, beside himself to see Perrin. Loves seeing Perrin's interesting new friends, and they immediately get to engage in battle because the Sentient come up on them at the same time.
Which is because I think this is funny. It's one of those situations where you are running from like he got out of the
Yes,
castle after killing people, so he's
right.
being pursued. He runs up and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited for you. Oh shoot, I just remembered there's a bunch of people behind me. I apologize."
And I hope your friends can fight. And they can. The Aiel and Massima kick ass big time.
The idea.
We don't see Loyal fighting at all. We haven't seen him fight once yet, have we?
Yeah, he's too busy going making plans grow.
That's right. Oh yeah, and Matt says, I think the funniest line of the episode. Rand's here. He has shit hair, but he's alive.
Mhm.
Me and Heather were talking about this. I think that he has the short hair for the Gran Turismo movie that he's doing,
Mhm.
and they just kind of wrote it into the plot here, because he's not hiding the fact he has red hair. His head should be completely bald if that was the case.
Yeah.
So I think that like these are like just in show jokes that they're making at his expense for like having this haircut for Gran Turismo.
Could be.
Just my guess anyway. Let's go to the interviews and see what see what Joshua Stradowski says. So anyway, yeah, Rand has shit hair. Perrin says, uh, they're going to get Egwene. He finds out Egwene's there, and he's like, "Well, Rand will go where Egwene is, so let's go to where Egwene is." Uh, we're surprised that everybody's here. Loyal insists that they need to get the horn to Matt. I mean, I'm sorry, get the horn to Rand. That's like a point that they're making big time right here. We need to get the horn to Rand. For some reason, they think that Rand needs the horn. So here it is where they can't open that box up. Remember when Turok did his little thing and he opened it up easy? Now they can't open the box. And this is what I was saying. I was like, how did he open that thing up so easy? Because it's supposed to be a puzzle to get in this damn thing. So how did Turok know that?
Turok probably just like knows. It would be a situation where there are some filing cabinets that have that little slide thing on there. If you don't know that slide thing's on there, you'll be like, why,
Yes.
what am I supposed to be doing?
Good point. Good point.
But when he just takes the dagger and slices through it and then opens it up, I immediately thought, what if he did that to the lament configuration? All of a sudden,
Ooh.
the pinhead shows up with the other Cenobites and is like, you open the box, and they look and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? That's a priceless heirloom of sadomasochism. You ruined it and technically didn't open it. And then Matt just goes, I swear to God, I just thought there would be like a prize inside. And they're like, we're going to leave. He says, can I poke you a little bit with his dagger?
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah.
no.
Yes, poke him, Matt. Poke him.
They don't even want that
scare
pain.
me. That's a scary movie. It really scared me bad when I first saw it when I was a teenager. That was a bad one. So yeah, Rand has shit hair. Where are we at now? Oh yeah, they open the box up. They give the horn to Rand. I'm sorry. They give the horn to Matt. These guys are such best friends. I get their names confused. And everybody is doing the thing that you're supposed to do in D&D. When you have a guy that has a magical item and he needs to get somewhere, you protect that guy at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Aiel are like taking guys out, like with arrows, helping Matt out so he can get up to Rand because everybody thinks Rand needs that horn.
You get best friends mixed up a lot. Just so listeners know, Steve does do a great job editing this podcast. It is apparent, especially in the intro, many, many times you have called me Nicole.
Yeah, well, it happens. Best friends and all.
You say, darling homebody. No, wait, no, this is
Oh,
Marshland
it's
Monster
marshland.
James.
It's the marshland. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Now Perrin needs to get into the action here. Perrin is recognized during this whole battle by Child Valda. God damn it. If it wasn't for this, everything would be fine. But Child Valda sees Perrin and he wants to kill him. So he's at dagger point with Child Valda, and Hopper knew this was going to happen. So Hopper runs in to save Perrin and gets on Child Valda and starts, Child Valda, I'm going to kill ya. Then Geoffram Bornhold like happens to glance over and is like, hey, Child Valda's got a wolf on him. I better kill that wolf real quick. So he does. He doesn't know that he's killing Hopper. He killed Hopper. He killed Hopper here. That was the worst part of this episode, was that little yelp when that sword went in and that little look in his eyes. It was awful. I can't. We knew this was going to happen. I predicted it would happen this episode, but it was worse than I thought.
Yeah, they linger on it. However, Perrin then kills that one dude. Doesn't he? Perrin kills the guy who killed.
Yeah, we're not at the part yet though. Like
Okay.
right now, we just saw. Oh no, that does happen. That's right.
Yeah. That's the reaction. Perrin sees that happen. He feels it happen. And then he says, get the fuck off my friend. And then swipes into him. And that's when because it's his father, who gave him water and beer and whatnot, he's like, Two Rivers, fuck you. And he's being carted out. Then The silly consultants did a fantastic job on this because seeing a dog fucking die is brutal. Holy shit. This was a Chris Gethard setup punchline. Chris Gethard, have you ever seen Career Suicide?
Yes, yeah.
So we saw that live here in Chicago. And
Oh,
so many
dope.
times he is telling a story and you are on the verge to be like, especially if you have issues with mental health or
Mhm.
have dealt with friends who have substance abuse problems or suicide in general.
That's all
Uh,
Chris Gessert fans, yes.
that is a crescendo of, oh my god, I'm about to fucking cry and I'm going to need to leave. That's how like emotional I'm about to get. Then he hits you with the hardest fucking punchline ever, and then you start laughing so hard. That's what this was, because dog dies, you're on the verge of tears, and then that dumb like silhouette ghost is hopping up as it lifts up into the sky.
Yes. It was a bit silly, but rest assured, Hopper is going up into the wolf dream land, and maybe if we go to sleep, we'll see Hopper there. It just might happen.
And
Um,
Ishmael's there too saying, "Hey, oh, wait, no, is that the dude's name? The evil one?"
Ishmael,
Yeah,
yes.
Ishmael's there in the dream too saying, "Hey, look at this dog. He looks dumb as hell."
No, Hopper, come on. Moving on, buddy, to
Thank you.
Matt. Matt is our comic relief of the show. He's at the foot of the tower. This is the big moment. This is another moment that might make you cry.
It
Matt's at the
did.
foot of the tower. He's got all the Death Watch in front of him, probably about like 40 dudes. And they're just standing there, like ready to do something. I guess Ishmael probably put them there to like, hey, nobody can come up here while I fuck with Rand.
Mhm.
So he probably set all those Death Guard guys there. So Matt does not know what to do. He's like, I guess I'll blow this horn because I have no other choice in the matter here. And it seems like I'm fucked. So let's go for it. So he does the horn, and the horn sounds cool. First off, I was afraid, just like when they did the loyal tree singing, I was afraid it would sound, too triumphant or like goofy or something. But I like what they chose to go with this.
Which it is the meme air horn. It goes bum, 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 bum.
Well, I was afraid it was gonna like be like like a
Okay.
triumphant toot. That's what I was afraid they would go with. They did not. Thank goodness.
Real quick, this would be a great meme to make. He blows the horn and it's the like fog horn that in Silent Hill that goes off. I think in Silent Hill 2, maybe even the first one. And
I
that
don't
because
know.
then all the fog rolls in and technically undead show up.
Oh, right.
It would work perfectly.
So this was like a version of Silent Hill because all the heroes show up. We've been hearing about the heroes of the horn. Well, here they are, baby. We got all of them, and this is where like I kind of got out of it a little bit, but then I within the scene I was giving it some credence because I was thinking this is silly. Why are they just standing there like letting them do dialogue and letting them, talk right now? Well, it's
Mhm.
because when the horn is blown, like time actually slows down as well for everybody. That's why we see everybody slow down. Like Perrin's spit slows down and um, Rand and Egwene slow down. Everybody's slowing down. So it's not just these fighters running at them. Like all time is stopping while the heroes arrive and they, have a little reunion here with Matt. He remembers. He remembers that he's one of these guys. And the guy in front, I think his name is Otter Hawkwind, I believe. That's who that's supposed to represent. He confirms to us, like, yeah, that's right. Like, if it was just Matt saying, I'm a hero too, it's like we wouldn't believe him. We need this other hero to confirm and, like, yes, I vouch for Matt. He is one of our heroes.
Mhm.
He's all good. We see Otter Hawkwind, like I said, there's a hero called Burgette Silverbow. She has blonde hair and she was like third in line. She's taller than most and she has a bow and arrow. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of her next season. Another person that we see is Uno. Uno's back, and he's a fucking hero of the Horn. Thank God they brought him back because I
Mhm.
was really upset they killed him. So this was a really nice surprise for us because, of course, this was not a book thing. This is a show thing, and TV's wonderful. I love we got Uno back, and he went right back to help Perrin, his boy. Even gave Perrin a magical object too. So now Perrin's got this magical shield that can shield dangerous weaves, which is great. Thank you, Uno.
He's the now the goofy to Rand's Sora.
I
This is
don't
a
understand at
It's a
all.
Kingdom Hearts reference.
Okay. Caleb
Goofy in
got it.
Kingdom Hearts fights evil with a shield.
Okay. The woman up front who kind of has like the Asian look about her is Amar Rasu. She takes the horn and does something with it. She like whips it behind her back or something. Did you catch that? I really do not know what happened to the horn at this point.
Someone in the Facebook group said pretty much she magically just did away with it, symbolizing you guys aren't going to need this again.
I disagree with that, but okay, all right.
Well, that's how I'm going to look at it. Also, real quick
Okay.
on Kingdom Hearts, Steve, if you ever want to feel like, oh, yeah, maybe I am too old, we should have Lil Corey just explain Kingdom Hearts to you.
Okay, that's fine.
You'd be like,
I
what the
mean,
fuck is going on? I think you Gen Zs, I think I'm a little too far past of what you guys are doing. Because
you
once he
don't
starts saying,
yeah.
yeah, and then Sora's hanging out with Jack Skellington and Oogie Boogie's being manipulated by Maleficent, who's actually being manipulated by like Yinsned or something.
Caleb and I used to go on very long car trips, just like me and Charlotte. Except when me and Caleb went on our car trips, this was pre-cell phone. So usually Caleb would just regale me with tales of his video games and his movies for hours as we're driving through the mountains. So I think I would feel right at home. I'd probably get misty if Corey did this because I'd be like, this reminds me of old times with Caleb, back in 2001.
I don't know. I love Kingdom Hearts, and when Lil Corey tries to tell me like deep lore, I'm like, this doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
stop telling me this.
I would think that too, but then I would be like, well, this is our moment. I'm his dad. He's talking about some weird stuff, but I'm on board. So I'm not. Why would I fault him for this? This is great. So all you do is just turn your brain off, and yeah, it sounds great. All right,
Hmm.
all right. So we get Matt yelling his catchphrase. His catchphrase is technically "Dovandi se tovoya segan," which I told you it's time to roll the dice. And Uno's
I
got a
thought
cool, yeah.
I thought it was, and now it's time to pay the price. They say that
Time
at
to
the end
pay
of every
the
episode,
price.
right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's time to pay the price. To P to the R to the I to the C to the P. Okay, yeah, I got you. All right. So yeah, the heroes they move in this really swishy moment because movement. Because like I was telling you, time was standing still for everybody else, but the heroes move through time faster, which is why they like can fight so much faster and they look all swirly. That's why Uno was able to like, fight around those Senshin where Perrin was so quickly because he could just move, I guess like 10, 20 times faster.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think that was kind of represented kind of cool with the swirlies. It's not how I envisioned it in my mind, but I went with it. I like it. Perrin is in a rage here because of what just happened back then with Hopper. So he's still raging about this. Like Uno was like dropping jokes and like one-liners while he's like handing off his shield to Perrin, which is like I said, a magical shield. Perrin's not in the mood for jokes right now. He's raging and oh yeah, Matt with his spear. He has this new weapon and he's really going to town on these guys. So that's I guess his thing now. And don't forget he was a hero of the Horn. His character is loosely based after Loki. Robert Jordan talks about how not just Lord of the Rings, but like the King Arthur legend is what he kind of based all of his characters on. So you got Rand, which is like Arthur. You got Egwene, which is like Guinevere. Tom Marilyn, which is like Merlin, and Matt here, which of course his name doesn't sound like Loki, but that's kind of who he's supposed to be based off of.
That's cool. I'm going to pitch to Dragon Boy Suede Howard Kramer a song called "Heroes of My Horn."
I think it's a good one. I think it's good already. All right, next scene we got Ishmael and Rand. Um, Rand will not join the dark. We've confirmed that. Not in 1,000 lives will he join the darkness.
How pissed would the book cloaks have been if he did? And that's like this story of the dragon has gone dark and now his friends need to take him down.
Oh man, I would actually love just to see the reaction to that. That'd be really, I mean, you never know. It could happen in any of these turnings of the wheel. It could happen. But no, Rand is so much like Luz. He's not going to go that way. So yeah, Matt sneaks up here on them, and this is where Min's vision comes true. Ishmael does like this little magic trick where he has his vision in front of Rand. Matt, instead of like running up and stabbing him, he throws the spear, goes right through Ishmael's weave, which is significant in itself. So Rand wasn't just hit with that dagger that's dangerous as it is, but it went through Ishmael's weave, which is a forsaken dark weave.
Mm.
So it contained like double magic when it went through, like it caught some poison on the way. So he's really messed up, more so than we thought. But yeah, Min, good one for Min there. When we see her later, we'll apologize and be like, okay, we see what you were all about now. Well, I don't know. I think Matt's going to hold a vendetta against her for a little while.
I don't
Probably
think so because now he's a hero of the horn, so he might be good. But at this point, I said boo because I thought that the episode was kind of going to end here and he wasn't
Oh,
going to. But luckily, everything
yeah.
gets wrapped up, except how his wound when it gets healed. Well, this isn't really like we can quickly skip to this. It
Uh-huh.
looks like a Danish, like a blueberry Danish, where it has like
Yeah.
some black swirl that would be the blueberry, and it's real gross looking.
I was thinking like a cinnamon swirl or something, but yeah,
Mm,
that's
yeah,
kind
that
of the
too.
look of it. Uh, Delicious. So,
No.
but yeah, that's another thing that you're not supposed to do is Matt yanks the dagger out of Rand, which it's a the ruby dagger. It's magical. I know you want to get it out of him, but first aid wise, that's not the wisest thing to do. Is to pull it out the opposite direction it went in. Matt says he's sorry for all this. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do it. And Ishmael comes up behind Matt and he's like, I'm sorry too. I truly am. And we believe him. We believe that Ishmael is sorry that it has to end this way because, he dug lose. He doesn't like to see it happen. So this is when Egwene rises up and she is able to join the show. She's got a shield that's a super powerful shield that is able to hold back Ishmael, which kind of surprises Ishmael. He's like, "You're no match for me." And she's probably not, like, because she's not able to, like, attack him successfully at all.
Hmm.
But she is able to shield his attack, which is super unusual that she would be strong enough to do so. We knew it. We knew Egwene had mojo and she could do this. We knew it all along.
My
So,
guess is this is symbolic of her wanting to protect her friends that like so much that that's coming out opposed to like yeah, I want you gone, sir. I want you dead, but my love and the need to protect my friends is greater than that of me being able to kill you. So I think that's why it manifested as a shield. I think it's more
yeah.
symbolic and meaningful for her to shield opposed to, hey, I'm just going to kill you.
Okay, yeah, agree. And speaking of shielding, Rand is at this moment still being shielded as well by all those sentient out in the boat. They're still doing their thing. So this is when Moraine shows up. She's out on the beach there, and she sees what's happening. And you were saying before, this is what I like when you were talking about the one power and you're able to use it, and when you can and cannot use it. So she's defending the light here. Like she sees what's happening and she is using her one power as a weapon to kill these Sentient, but she's doing it in defense of Rand. So we just have to take that her justification is sound.
Mhm.
So while she's doing this, they're being attacked by more Death Watch on the beach. So we get to watch Lan fight too. It's like we needed to give Lan something in this episode, something cool to do, and he did it. He like when they came at him one at a time. So take it for what it is. But then when that archer tries to take Lan out, he grabs the arrow out of the air and then stabs another dude with it. Classic move. I loved it. I was on my feet. I loved it.
And this is it's hearkening back to episode 1 of the show where you got to protect your spellcaster because it takes them maybe a turn or two to really amp
Right.
up a spell. And that's what's happening here, which happened when she was trying to take out all the trollops in the Two Rivers.
Mm-hmm. Right. I like the way the birds are flying along with her weaves as well. Looks very
Mm.
calm and peaceful despite the destruction that they do. So just as Egwene's shield is like starting to give out because she's starting to like get exhausted, Perrin arrives with his new Uno shield, continues the protection mode. So thank you, Perrin, for getting the backup. More backup arrives. Nynaeve and Elaine come up. And thank God Nynaeve brought Elaine because Nynaeve can't do anything to help anybody, unfortunately. Nynaeve, I'm so sorry what they did to you this season. They like
Yeah.
built her up to do a bunch of stuff and she didn't do it. I think it's going to happen next season, but for this season, I'm glad she brought Elaine along. Um, she goes to heal Rand up and they have like a little meet cute moment. Rand and Elaine, like, are you my twin sister? Yeah. We decided they're twins, remember? They when their mom was fighting that there was twins in her womb.
Mhm, mhm.
That would be
We didn't
fun.
decide. I just threw that out as a joke.
I loved it. I want that to be true. So it is. I like it a lot. So yeah, you also said before, this is another case of James being right. Where you were like, it's a many-headed dragon. You love that theory and you jumped on it. It's not exactly true. Rand is actually the dragon, but he can't do what he does without his whole crew. He was
Mhm.
completely weak and nothing without the rest of his crew here. So because they're there helping out, he's able to do a little stand up and calmly walk up to Ishmael and
And
give
then
him
he
the old
says, "What's the
1-2.
deal?" Oh, I
What?
he he does a little stand up and he
Yeah.
does a little, "What's the deal with airline food?"
A little crowd work before it goes up to Ishmael. Oh yeah. I wrote down this note. Hopefully Suroth got killed when Moraine blasted those boats. I
Mhm.
really hope she got killed. There's a chance she didn't. There's a chance she can swim and that she lived. I really hope not. She was like my favorite person to hate this episode. I mean, like this season, I think. Or she annoyed me the most, I should say.
Well,
But
she
yeah,
doesn't have those long nails to really help her stay buoyant.
that's right. Would they help or hurt her in a swimming situation? I think they would
I don't
hurt.
wanna it would hurt your literal fingers, and I don't wanna think
Yes, it would
about it.
pull against
Ugh.
it. Jeez. But okay, Rand with his magical sword now. His sword wasn't magical before. He has this heron mark blade from his father. It was never magical in the episode or any of the seasons leading up till now. So I don't believe the sword was magical, but he one powered up the sword as he was stabbing Ishmael to kill Ishmael from within, turn him to ash, completely kill him. Um, and it's a peaceful death. It seems like
Mhm.
they give him a nice send off. He's looking up at the birds. Um, Rand now has some cool scars. He's got that ugly scar on his side, But like, I mean, the dudes will respect that when they see it. Like, hell yeah, look at that battle scar. And then he's got this heron mark on his palm now from his sword. His sword is gone. Like, poor guy, he doesn't have his dad's sword anymore because it got burned up in the process of killing Ishmael. But he's got that mark on his palm, I guess, to kind of like remember the sword that he used to have.
I wrote no that he'll always remember his father. This is better, I think. Someone could steal the sword, but you
Oh,
can't steal
okay.
that mark from him. And I think clearly it's not a magical sword because it burns up. A magical sword
Right.
could handle that magic. And I thought it was very telling, especially forget the books. You say he's a good swordsman in the books, but now he doesn't need to be a swordsman. He's a
Yeah.
spellcaster. He can just fuck shit up like this.
Yeah, like Leandrin was saying. Leandrin was telling Nynaeve, "You don't need a sword. I got my sword right here." I mean, she had a better sword than any sword anybody could ever have, like her
Also,
magical sword.
also, dudes will respect the herring mark, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
why you're like, they'll respect a little like pokey on his side, but this one they won't. No,
No,
they
I
see
wasn't
the
saying that.
herring mark. Maybe they won't respect him. They'll fear him with that.
Maybe so. All right, let me make sure I didn't go over any notes. Oh yeah, no,
I
I
have
didn't. I'm
one
fine.
more. I have one more up top on the tower. It like pans as they're looking out at the city and everyone's cheer. Oh yeah, because the dragon shows up.
Right. Yeah, I was going to get to that, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, like they're all like cheering. They're like, yeah, woo!
Woo.
And we see everyone come to the edge, and I say, they're all back together. The gang's all here, plus Elaine.
I have in my notes I was going to talk about that because she is part of the gang. I mean, this crew has like grown like since they've all like split up. They've all kind of like leveled up and they have like Loyal is obviously in the gang. Elaine is in the gang. They are the Two Rivers 5. But I mean, she's part of the crew now. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but she's in.
It's just weird. Like Loyal should be up there too. Why aren't any of the
Yes.
ghosts up there?
Loyal should be up there. Massima should be, even though we haven't heard much from Massima, he's been helpful just as much. Oh, the Aiel, that's right. The
Yeah.
Aiel look up at Rand and they're like, it's our Karakarn. It's our guy. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I caught that, but I'm like, I guess they also have an allegiance to the dragon.
Yeah, like that's the whole reason that people are seeing Aiel because nobody's seen Aiel because they've been sticking to their to the Aiel quote unquote waste, the
Hmm.
threefold land. Um, but that's the reason that all these Aiel are out and about is they're looking for the Karakarn, who they believe is like their leader that will lead them to their next phase of their life.
Hmm.
And they Rand is the guy. They recognize that. So these are
Or
yeah.
were they looking at Elaine?
Oh, maybe so. Who knows? They don't clarify that. So they could have been. Maybe that's why Elaine was up there, James. See? I didn't love the dragon banner. I didn't hate it either, but I didn't love it. Could have been a little bit more to that. But yeah, everybody. Oh, speaking of Massima, he hasn't really been around a whole heck of a lot. But when they cut to him checking out Rand, he's like transfixed. You hear him like gasp, which is like very, very consistent with his character as well. Like he takes things very seriously. And Lanfear, she's proud of her boy. She's up there, and there's people like kissing in the streets. This is like a Times Square thing, like after World
Hmm.
War One, the boys coming back home. I mean, they just finished battling people, and then all of a sudden they're kissing. But that's what the dragon does to you, man. The dragon brings all his Taviran energy, and he's got all his Taviran buddies, and everybody's ready to party now in Falm. They got to clean up the dead first, then they can party. Um, yeah, my next note was that Elaine might as well be the Two River 6 with Loyal, might as well be the Two River 7. They're going to make more friends along the way. Remember, Avienda is like sworn to Perrin now, so they're probably going to be buddies. And by
Hmm.
default, Bane and Chiat are right at her side. So yeah, last scene we're gonna cut back to Lanfear. So she's pretty happy about everything. Like she's proud of her boy Rand. Everything's going as planned. She's gonna go grab those six Forsaken Seal, take them to Bail Damon on the boat. Everything will be good. But apparently, when she walks in that room, it was a trap set up for her by Mogedion. All six of the seals have been broken by Ishmael. That was like his last move before he died. Like that's why he was okay with her betraying him because he betrays her right back. Even though
But
he
they
won't
balance
live.
each other.
Yeah, that's right. He won't live to see any of this because Ishmael's like gone, gone. He's gone for
Mhm.
good. We're not going to see him anymore. We still don't know who these other five boys are. That's all we. That's all Megiddian refers to them as is the boys. Even though I'm pretty sure one of them is a girl, but maybe it's like a maybe she's gone binary. I don't know, but it's going to be five more Forsaken that we're going to meet. So far we meet Mogedion here. So Mogedian's waiting for Lanfear to taunt and to warn her that they're around. So this Mogedion is not quite as strong as Lanfear, but she's more crafty and better at like plotting, planning, trapping. So she has the upper hand on Lanfear here for that reason, because she caught Lanfear by surprise. If this was like in like an open fight, Lanfear may win. But in this situation, softly, softly from the shadows, as Megiddian says, that's how she fights. She does her thing from the outside and she plots.
And she's
Um,
instantly menacing and evil in my eyes
yeah,
because the weaves she is weaving are spider webs, and I think it's
yeah,
disgusting.
I know. I'm apprehensive to see some of the things that they're going to show with Mogedion, like as we move forward. It's an interesting character. She reminds me of Bjork. That's who she. That's the vibe I got from her.
Mm.
Even the way she talks, she had the real Bjork vibe.
And I would
But
like to clarify disgusting. Whoever did the visual effects for that scene, you did good. I hope you are like, it looks like spider
yes,
webs and it looks disgusting
it does. Yep.
because
So
I
yeah,
think spiders are disgusting.
yeah, they can be. So she tells Lanfear, stay away from Rand. He's ours now. And we end this season with Lanfear seemingly on the side of the light because she says the same thing that Ingtar says. Light help you, Rand al'Thor. And and that's where we cut. Megidion's free with the other five. Lanfear maybe on the side of Rand. I don't know, but she seems like she might be helping him out.
This is when I said she was doing good
Mm-hmm.
because she obviously did not want these six that or five Forsaken six.
Six. Mm-hmm.
So much so that I didn't catch when she was talking to that one pirate dude of I have six of these that just throw them somewhere out Dexter style into the ocean so no one can find them. Or if someone does find one, guess what? They just found one.
Right.
Just drop them off in different areas of the deep ocean. She doesn't want them to be found. She knows she can't destroy what's inside, but she
Yeah.
can at least make sure it's very Dragon Ball with Piccolo and all of that. And also, on top of that, this next season and such, I think is going to be even more Dragon Ball because it's them going to have to take out each one, just like having to be like, what do we need to do to take out this one? That's what it's going to do. Will I kind of fall off? Maybe. Hopefully it's more. No, I fell out of Dragon Ball. I think the worst saga was the Red Ribbon Army stuff, especially when going after that one dude in the tower. Just that
Tower
kind of
dude.
stuff I don't enjoy, but I hope we get some slice of life stuff. Them training, them being buds, them
Mm-hmm.
being friends, and having a good time while also defending the planet.
you mean, you mean the other Forsaken is who you're talking about?
Yeah, hey, if we get that too, I'd love it.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm anxious to meet these other five and who they're going to be. But like I said, Mogedion is I'm a little nervous, but also very excited. And I'm sure that Nynaeve is going to have to step it up in season
Are
3.
are the
And
Forsaken not in the books?
in the books, there's 14 of them.
Oh,
So that's why I don't know which ones they're going to choose to be like this group of 8 because they're leaving
okay.
6 out apparently. I mean, just guessing. Maybe they're going to find out like in season 3, like, oh look, we found a bunch more. There's actually 14, and all the book people will go, oh, okay, that's cool.
Or
But
maybe
yeah, that's yeah,
the others are the 6 Two Rivers plus Elaine.
yeah, that's right. That is, and that would make Lanfear loyal. Then, okay, that's cool. I like that. But yeah, that's our episode, and yeah, favorite and least favorite. It's got to be Egwene. I'm going to say Egwene is my favorite, not just in this episode, but probably for the season. I'm going to give her the MVP. Least favorite. I always hate Suroth, so I'm like I said. I hope she died on the boat, so she gets my least favorite. I'm scared of Moghedien, but Suroth, I want to give my least favorite too. How about you?
My least favorite's the dude who killed the dog. That's pretty bad.
Oh yeah, I should have gave it to him. I take mine back. I'm with
Nope,
you.
you can't.
Oh,
No.
God damn it.
Yes, you can, Steve.
Okay, good.
And then my favorite, yeah, probably would be but I really liked the emotional weight of Matt blowing that horn.
Ah,
Actually, I give it to they're bonded, so they are kind of one. I really liked Lan and Moraine. They're bonded again. Them battling together was so awesome. They're my favorites.
okay, yeah, sweet. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like here, a lot to love, and I'm glad you're on the Matt train now. Like your friend Shelby has always said that like Matt is like one of her favorites, and I respect her for that. That's one of the things I know about Shelby. I don't know much about her. I know she likes Matt, and that's all I need to know.
Real quick, we were discussing the Dark One earlier.
Hmm.
Eventually, they will have to cast someone for the Dark One if we see them manifested. And my assumption, I'll give you so this is Amazon. Amazon is technically a
Yes,
movie studio.
Amazon
I
Prime.
think
Yes.
they would do someone they have an overall deal with, kind of like old studio stuff.
Okay. Okay. I
So
like this.
of the people I know who have overall deals at Amazon and are really pushed there, who would you rather the Dark One be? Rocky or Bullwinkle?
Okay, I was gonna say Tim Curry. That was where my mind went immediately. I was like, Tim Curry. Yes, James. I knew you were gonna say Rocky or Bullwinkle, though. I've always been more of a Rocky fan. He's just more of a like a happy-go-lucky guy. Seems like he's more apt to just to be a goofball. Like where Bullwinkle is just kind of a dummy. I don't know. I'm a Rocky guy.
Actually, if we're really thinking Rocky and Bullwinkle, what would end up happening? They're a package deal, so it would be
Damn.
Bullwinkle on
Shit.
Rocky's shoulder in a trench coat.
Yeah, I've seen that image before and I like it. Okay, all right. Well, let's get our plugs, James. We're hitting on the 2 hour mark here, which is unusual for us. This is nice. It's like talking to Lindsay. We usually go for 3 hours. But yeah, what kind of plugs you got this week, James? This is probably the week of October 20 something.
Hey guys, check out MLMpod.com for information about all the other podcasts that I do. I got a lot. Wherever you're listening to this, you can listen to Mostly Speaking Sentai, Hit It and Crit It, This Movie's Gay, Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling / Death to Squids, which is under the Marshland Media podcast feed. There's a lot. Formulaic Height of Horror. It's a great time. Then listen to my music under Marshland Monster. Have new singles and projects coming out every single month wherever music is found. If you're in the Chicago area, head over to Chicago Comics. Maybe you'll see me there sometime.
Yay.
Or if you don't, just buy something, support a local bookstore, and
Yes.
head over to patreon.com /MLM pod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. Because if we get enough people over there, I won't have to work at Chicago Comics anymore. That would be cool, but I'm actually enjoying my time there. $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. I maybe Engage with Nicolas Cage is the one coming out the week this is released. I don't know.
I don't know either, but they're great. I listen to them and I love them too. My plugs this week, I don't really have any plugs. So I just wanted to say hello and thank you to Instrumental Humans, to Tash, and to Dylan Eggers, who they all checked in this week because they know that we're ramping up with Wheel of Time. All these individuals are Dark fans, and they're checking in with us like, hey, you guys going to be doing Dark season 3? Yes, we are. Probably in the next week or two, we'll be getting back into Dark with Lindsay. And I'll read these letters with her when we get back in there. So there's my plugs for the week. Instrumental Humans. Check them out on Bandcamp. James, it's been a great season. Maybe we can catch up one more time before we wrap it up for season 2. But for tonight, I hope you always find your water and shade, sir.
Yeah, back at you, sir. Oh, also, Mostly Speaking, or twitch.tv/Mostly Speaking Sentai. Eventually, Steve and I will play the Wheel of Time PC game on there.
And another turning of the wheel. It will happen. Okay, everybody found water and shade. Bye-bye.
Bye.